Okay, good morning, children.
Good morning,
So
ma'am.
today we are going to continue this topic in biomolecules. I hope you have revised well for the exam, right? Because the same portions are there for the last periodic test also. So it will be easy for you to recollect the points, isn't it? And today I'm going to finish this chapter. One more topic there, that is nucleic acids, DNA or RNA. If you are not able to write down the entire notes, you can leave it. I will give you the full notes tomorrow itself. No need to worry. So let's start. Which are the two types of structures in secondary structure of protein, children? Secondary structure of protein. Aditya? Two
I'm
types,
fine with
right?
it.
In secondary structure, there are two types depending upon their structure. Do you remember which are they?
Oh,
Yes. Alpha helix and beta pleated sheet structure. Isn't it? Alpha helix and beta pleated sheet structure. So we are going to discuss about these two, that comes under secondary structure of protein. Okay. Secondary structure of protein. Alpha helix and beta pleated sheet structure. So this alpha helix, it is a polypeptide chain, forms all possible hydrogen bonds by twisting into a right-handed screw. It will shows this image. Okay. That means this is the shape of this alpha helix structure. We already learned that there is hydrogen bond in between this elements, right? Hydrogen bonds in between these elements. So all possible hydrogen bonds by twisting into a right-handed screw. It's look like say screw. With NH group of each amino acid residue hydrogen bonded to CO of an adjacent turn of the helix. We learned that there are two groups there in the structure of amino acid, right? NH2, then COOH group. That means amino group and carboxylic acid group. So the hydrogen bond it is exists between these two, NH, then CO. In between there is one hydrogen bond. You can clearly observe it in the image. There is some connection between two chains. Here it is CO, right? CO, that is from carboxyl group or carboxylic acid. That is linked to amino group of next chain with hydrogen bond. Okay, with hydrogen bond. And it is arranged in a twisted way. That means right, similar to a right-handed screw. So this one is known as alpha helix structure. Alpha helix structure. A polypeptide chain forms all possible hydrogen bonds by twisting into a right-handed screw with NH group of each amino acid residue, it is hydrogen bonded to CO group of an adjacent turn of the helix. So this comes under secondary structure of protein and it is known as alpha helix structure. Alpha helix structure. Is this clear? Shall I move to next one? Okay, then complete it. Alpha helix. Okay, then next one is beta pleated sheet structure. Beta pleated sheet structure. It also comes under the secondary structure of protein. Beta pleated sheet structure. In beta structure, all peptide chains are stretched out to nearly maximum extension. They have stretched to their maximum and then laid side by side, which are held together by intermolecular hydrogen bonds. Here also intermolecular hydrogen bond is there. Then they are stretched to their maximum and they are laid side by side. It is similar to that of pleats in drapery. That means pleats in saris. We can observe that, right? Pleats in saris, similar to pleats in saris. This beta pleated sheet structure. Or when you make pleats using paper, it's also similar to this one, right? Yeah. So in beta structure, all peptide chains are stretched out to nearly maximum extension and then laid side by side, which are held together by intermolecular hydrogen bond. Here also hydrogen bond is there. Intermolecular means in between. Between two compounds, there is one hydrogen bond. That's it. Intermolecular hydrogen bonds. You can see here intermolecular hydrogen bonds. Here also it's between amino group and carboxylic group, NH group and CO group. Beta pleated sheet structure. This is clear? Finished, all of you? Gauri, finished. Achyut? Okay. Then we are moving to the next biomolecule. That is before that, one more point, that is denaturation of proteins. Protein found in biological system with a unique three-dimensional structure and a biological activities, it is called native protein. That means we have learned primary structure, secondary structure, tertiary structure, quaternary structure. So a protein found in this biological system with all these structures, that means it is completely formed into a protein molecule with its all four structures, four levels of structures. So this protein found in biological system with a unique three-dimensional structure. That means it should complete the quaternary structure and it should shows its own biological activity. It is called a native protein. Okay, protein found in biological system with a unique three-dimensional structure and biological activity. It is called native protein. When this native protein, it is subjected to any physical change. That means change in temperature, then chemical change, that is change in pH. pH means acidic substances change to alkaline substance. If their medium is changed into acidic or basic, that's the change in pH. The hydrogen bonds are disturbed. We learned that in tertiary and quaternary structure, there is one hydrogen bond in between amino group and carboxylic group, right? So due to the changes in this physical and chemical properties, the hydrogen bonds are disturbed. Okay, hydrogen bonds are disturbed. So protein found in biological system with a unique three-dimensional structure and biological activity, it is called a native protein, and it is subjected to physical change, that means change in temperature, or chemical change, that is change in pH. The hydrogen bonds are disturbed. So can you guess what happens if these hydrogen bonds are disturbed? What happens to its structure? I told you this tertiary and quaternary structure, it is mainly based on this hydrogen bonds. So if these hydrogen bonds are disturbed, they lose their structures, right? They lose their tertiary or quaternary structures. Have you completed this one? Okay, so you have to remember, if it is subjected to any physical change or chemical change, the hydrogen bonds are disturbed. So it will completely destroy the structure of this protein. Then due to this, globules unfold and helix gets uncoiled. We learned two types of proteins, fibrous protein, then globular protein. In the case of globular protein, this globules unfold. In their from primary to secondary structure, they just fold, right? This polypeptide chains fold. And in tertiary structure, it's again fold. So when this hydrogen bond breaks, it will starts to unfold or uncoil. And protein loses its biological activity. That means it can only able to show its biological activity on its complete structure. That means at its quaternary structure. When hydrogen bonds are disturbed, these globules unfold and the helix get uncoiled, and this protein loses its biological activity. This is called denaturation of protein. Denaturation of protein. So the secondary and tertiary structures are destroyed. Quaternary is already destroyed. Then secondary and tertiary structures are destroyed, but the primary structure, it remains intact, because there is no such hydrogen bond in the primary structure. Do you remember that one, polypeptide chain? Here only the water molecules removed, then amino group and carboxyl group, they joins together to form peptide linkage. There is no hydrogen bond there. In the secondary, tertiary and quaternary structure, it is based on this hydrogen bond. Okay, so due to this denaturation of protein, secondary and tertiary structures destroyed, but the primary structure remains intact. That means primary structures remains there. So we know that this egg, then milk, they are very rich sources of protein, right? So when on heating, they turns to another substances. That means coagulation of this. Coagulation of egg white on boiling, then curdling of milk. These all are examples of this denaturation of protein. On heating, the liquid substances, it turns to a solid one, right? In the case of egg, on coagulation, this egg white, it is changed to a solid substance. So it is due to this denaturation of protein. Similarly, the curdling of milk. Curdling of milk, here the pH values change. Due to the action of certain microbes, it will be converted to acidic one. That's why milk is changed to curd. So these two are the examples of denaturation of protein. Coagulation of egg white on boiling and curdling of milk. This is clear? Any doubt, children? Nothing, right? Okay. Then we are moving to the next biomolecule, that is nucleic acids. I think the same topic you have learned in biology, right? Biology students? Yes, right? Vidur? Yes or no? You are not biology.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, okay. So, nucleic acids. The third biomolecule, it is nucleic acids. The particles in nucleus of the cell, it is responsible for heredity. The particles in nucleus of the cell, they are responsible for heredity. They are called chromosomes. We know that in each cell there is one nucleus at the center of the cell, right? So these particles in the nucleus of the cell, they are responsible for heredity. They are called chromosomes. So these particles in the center of nucleus, center of cell, that is known as chromosomes. which are made up of proteins and another type of biomolecule. It is called nucleic acid. So there is one cell. At the center, it is known as nucleus. Okay, this one is a cell. At the center, there is one nucleus. There are certain particles inside this nucleus. They are known as chromosomes. They are known as chromosomes. They are responsible for our heredity. And these chromosomes, they are made up of proteins and another biomolecule. It is known as nucleic acid. Proteins plus nucleic acid. Then we are going to learn about this nucleic acids. There are mainly two types of nucleic acids. Okay, two types of nucleic acid. First one is DNA. Full form deoxyribonucleic acid. DNA, deoxyribonucleic acid. Then the second one is RNA. It is ribonucleic acid. So there are two types of nucleic acid. First one is deoxyribonucleic acid, it is DNA. The next one is ribonucleic acid, that is RNA. Okay. So these nucleic acids, they are long chain polymers of nucleotides. Okay. We have learned in the case of proteins, they are the amino acid is considered as a monomer of this protein, right? Amino acids units join together to form a polypeptide chain, then it forms proteins. Here, this nucleic acid, it's a long chain polymer of nucleotides. So they are also called polynucleotides because many nucleotides, they are joined together to form this nucleic acid. So it is also known as polynucleotide. Poly means many, right? So many nucleotide units, they are joined together to form this nucleic acid. Is this clear? So there are two types of nucleic acid. Deoxyribonucleic acid, that is DNA, then ribonucleic acid, it is RNA. And this nucleic acids also known as polynucleotides. Shall I move to next slide? Yes. Manuel, have you completed?
1 minute.
Okay. Okay. Then the complete hydrolysis of this DNA or RNA yields a pentose sugar, phosphoric acid and nitrogen containing heterocyclic compound called base. That means this DNA is made up of mainly three units: pentose sugar, phosphoric acid and one base. One nitrogen containing heterocyclic compound, it is called base. So which are the major three components of DNA or RNA? There will be one pentose sugar, then phosphoric acid, then one base. Clear? Pentose sugar, phosphoric acid, base. Base means one nitrogen containing heterocyclic compound. Nitrogen containing heterocyclic compound. And in the case of DNA, I told you there is one pentose sugar in their structure, right? This sugar moiety, that means the sugar, pentose sugar present in DNA, it is known as beta D2 deoxyribose. Okay, you have to remember the name of that means complete name of DNA. It is deoxyribonucleic acid. So the sugar present in this DNA, it is beta D2 deoxyribose. Beta D2 deoxyribose. Beta D2 deoxyribose. Then in the case of RNA molecule, it is beta D ribose. In the case of RNA molecule, it is beta D ribose. And these two are the structures of beta D ribose and beta D2 deoxyribose. This you can copy from the textbook, okay? Otherwise it will get more time to copy this. Only the difference between these two, in the case of, here it is hydrogen and here it is OH. All other groups are same. Yeah, Achyut, any doubt?
What is in DNA molecule, sugar molecule?
Sugar moiety means sugar group. I told you one pentose sugar in its structure, right? So this pentose sugar present in DNA, it is known as beta D2 deoxyribose, the name of sugar molecule. Okay? Yeah. So you have to remember pentose sugar, phosphoric acid, then one base. These are the three components present in DNA and RNA. In DNA molecule, the sugar moiety or the sugar molecule is known as beta D2 deoxyribose. Then in RNA molecule, it is known as beta D ribose. Beta D ribose. Have you completed? Switch on your video, children. Shall I move to next one? Okay. Then about bases. Okay. I told you there is one sugar molecule, phosphate group and base there. In DNA, the sugar molecule is known as deoxyribose, and in RNA it is ribose. Okay. Then about bases. This DNA contains 4 bases. DNA contains 4 bases. Adenine, it is represented as A. Guanine, it is represented as G. Cytosine, it is C, and thymine, it is T. Adenine, guanine, thymine and cytosine. These are the 4 bases that present in DNA. And these are the structures of adenine, guanine, cytosine, thymine. Then in the case of RNA, it also contains 4 bases. First 3 bases are same as in DNA, but the 4th one is uracil. Okay, 4th one is uracil. Instead of thymine, in the case of RNA, it is uracil. Instead of thymine, here it is uracil. Clear? There are 4 bases present in DNA: adenine, guanine, thymine and cytosine. We will use the first letter of this bases as its symbol. Then in the case of RNA, it's also contain 4 bases. The 4th one is different from DNA. 4th one is here uracil instead of thymine. And these are the structures of each one: adenine, then guanine, cytosine, uracil and thymine. You have MCQ questions, so you should try to identify each one. That means if different figures are shown in the option, you are able to identify which one is adenine. So you have to learn its structure. Okay. Only few portions are there from this chapter. Remaining things are deleted. So we cannot able to expect the questions in which level. So you have to identify the structures also. Adenine, then guanine, cytosine, uracil, thymine. Okay, it's in the textbook, page number 428. So along with the notes, you can also copy the structure. I will include it in the notes. This is clear, children? DNA contains 4 bases: adenine, guanine, thymine, cytosine. In the case of RNA, adenine, guanine, cytosine. Instead of thymine, here it is uracil. Okay? Clear? This is clear. So we learned about the sugar present in both DNA and RNA, then the bases present in DNA and RNA. Then about the structure of nucleic acid. Structure of nucleic acid. A unit formed by the attachment of a base to the one position of sugar, it is known as nucleoside. We know that there are 3 components there: sugar, base, phosphate group. So a unit formed by the attachment of base in the first position of sugar, it is known as nucleoside. You look here, this one is an example for a base. Okay, base. Sorry, this one is an example for the nucleoside. It consists of both base and pentose sugar. Okay, this is the sugar molecule, and you can see here, this is the first position. To the first position, there is one base attached. So this structure is known as nucleoside. Nucleoside, a unit formed by the attachment of a base to the first position of sugar. It is known as nucleoside. So there are 3 components there: sugar molecule, then phosphate group, base. A nucleoside, sugar molecule, it is attached to base. First position of sugar molecule, it is occupied by a base. It is known as nucleoside. Nucleoside. Then there is one more group, that is phosphate group. When this nucleoside is linked to phosphoric acid at 5th position of sugar moiety, we get a nucleotide. When this nucleoside, it is attached, base is already attached to the sugar molecule in nucleoside. Then again, phosphoric acid, it is attached to this nucleoside at the 5th position. It is considered as nucleotide. It is considered as nucleotide. A unit formed by the attachment of a base at first position of sugar, it is known as nucleoside. Then when nucleoside is linked to phosphoric acid at 5th position of sugar moiety, we get a nucleotide. This is clear? This is the phosphoric acid group, P, then 3 oxygen atoms. Already 1 oxygen here in OH, then 3 oxygen atoms. Shall I move to next one? You can copy the structure from the textbook. It's also in page number 428. Okay, so in the first position of sugar, there is one base, and in the 5th position of this sugar, it is phosphoric acid. This one is known as nucleoside, and the other one is known as nucleotide. Then these nucleotides are joined together by phosphodiester linkage. Okay, phosphodiester linkage between 5' and 3' carbon atoms of the pentose sugar. So you can look here, there are 2 nucleotides here, right? two nucleotides. This one is one nucleotide and the other one is here. In the case of nucleic acid, it consists of, or DNA, they are polynucleotides. So one nucleotide, it is connected to another nucleotide by phosphodiester linkage. This is the phosphodiester linkage between these two groups. And here this phosphodiester linkage between 5' position of one sugar with the 3' position of another one. Okay, 5' position of one nucleotide with 3' position of another nucleotide, it forms a phosphodiester linkage. So these nucleotides, they are joined together by phosphodiester linkage between 5' and 3' carbon atoms of the pentose sugar. Have you completed, children? Sorry. Yes. Yeah. Then its primary structure, then the double strand helix structure for DNA. Information regarding the sequence of nucleotides in the chain of a nucleic acid, it is called the primary structure. Okay. Information regarding the sequence of nucleotides in the chain of a nucleic acid, it is called its primary structure. And this James Watson and Francis Crick, they gave a double strand helix structure of DNA, that is depicted in the image. James Watson and Francis Crick, they gave a double strand helix structure of DNA. Here you can see there are two strands. Okay, two strands, they are parallel to each other. This structure is known as double strand helix structure and it's in a coiled form. So two nucleic acid chains are wound about each other and held together by hydrogen bonds between the pairs of bases. Here in between these two nucleic acid chains, you can see there is hydrogen bond between their complementary pairs. We have learned about certain bases: adenine, guanine, thymine, cytosine, uracil. In the case of RNA, the uracil is there. So they will form hydrogen bonds between these two bases. Here you can see one is adenine and the next one is thymine. Here it is cytosine, the next one is guanine. So you have to remember, adenine always forms pair with thymine. They are the complementary pairs. Adenine always forms pairs with thymine. Then in the case of cytosine, it always pairs with guanine. Adenine, thymine, then cytosine, guanine. This is in the case of DNA. Adenine, thymine, then cytosine, guanine. Information regarding the sequence of nucleotides in the chain of a nucleic acid, it is called its primary structure. Then James Watson and Francis Crick gave a double strand helix structure for this DNA. Here the two nucleic acid chains, they are wound about each other and they are held together by hydrogen bonds between the pairs of bases. Shall I move to next one, children? Finished, right? Yes. Then I told you the two strands are complementary to each other because the hydrogen bonds are formed between specific pairs. That you already write. Adenine forms hydrogen bonds with thymine, then cytosine with guanine. That's it. Okay. The complementary pairs adenine, thymine, cytosine, guanine. Then in the secondary structure of this RNA, helices are present which are only single stranded. In the case of DNA, it is double helix, but in the case of RNA, it is a single strand. Then sometimes they fold back on themselves to form a double helix structure. Okay, in the case of DNA, it is double helix. That means coiled and wound about each other. In the case of RNA, the secondary structure of RNA, it is only single stranded, but sometimes they fold back on themselves to form a double helix structure. Then the RNA are of three types and they perform different function. Messenger RNA, mRNA. In short form, it is known as mRNA. Then next one is ribosomal RNA. In short, rRNA. Then transfer RNA, that is tRNA. Messenger RNA, that is mRNA. Then ribosomal RNA, rRNA. Then transfer RNA, tRNA. In the name itself, their functions are shown, right? Messenger, that means it will message will be transmitted through this message RNA. Ribosomal RNA, that's for protein synthesis purposes. Then transfer RNA, they will transfer information. So these are three types of RNA. And you have to remember, in the secondary structure, this RNA will remain a single strand, but sometimes they fold back on themselves to form a double helix structure. Then one more slide to share. Shall I move to the last one? Okay. Finished? Yeah. Then one more thing, that is the biological functions of this nucleic acid. These things you already know. Chemical basis of heredity. Okay, chemical basis of heredity because they can able to transfer the genetic information. Reserve of genetic information. Then they are capable of self-duplication. That means they can able to produce duplicates by itself during the cell division. So identical strands are transferred to daughter cells. So consider this one as one nucleic acid. It can able to produce the duplicates from the same shell. That is self-duplication during the cell division. Identical strands are transferred to daughter cells. Then protein synthesis, it helps in protein synthesis. That means the production of protein. These proteins are synthesized by various RNA molecules in the cell, but the message for the synthesis of particular protein is present in DNA. These proteins are synthesized by various RNA molecules in the cell, but the message for the synthesis, okay, it will given by this protein present in DNA. So these are the biological functions of nucleic acid. Chemical basis of heredity, then reserve of genetic information, capable of self-duplication during cell division, and identical strands are transferred to daughter cells. Then in the protein synthesis, then proteins are synthesized by various RNA molecules in the cell, But the message for the synthesis of a particular protein, it is present in DNA. These are the biological functions of nucleic acid. Children, then I will send you the notes regarding the whole topic. Now it's time to wind up, right? So can I stop sharing now?
Yes.
Okay. Then write down. Shivani, I will send you the whole notes. No need to worry, okay? Just read your message. Finished, right? Okay. So now this chapter is also completed. If you have any doubt in this portion, you can ask me in the next class. Okay, let me take your attendance. Just wait. Okay, then thank you, children. See you in the next class. Bye. Thank you.